Hi, and thank you so much for joining me today for day 22 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life. Today's sketch you will have just seen there at the beginning is by Katy, Donaldson Taylor, and it's using 3 4x4-ish photos, which you can see I've got here. Now I'm using the 49 and Market Artoptions Alena for this layout, but I'm specifically pulling out the blues and oranges to go with these sunset photos from our recent summer holiday. So I've started with a 6x8 paper in pale blue, and now I'm looking for an orange to use as a large square mat behind this. So this orange piece of paper will be cut down to 9 by 9 inches, and then that will be matted onto the white, which will also be trimmed. I'll take an inch off each side of that so that that can be matted onto another paper. So lots of layers in this sketch, and I'm really enjoying it. So just making sure that I trim the colourful bits off so I'm left with just this orange, and there we go. So we've got the pale blue with the orange, and then this white, which, as I say, I'll trim an inch off each side, well, 2 sides, so that I can have a 1/2 inch border around the paper that I choose for the background. And after going through all those different ones, I've decided that I'm happy with this piece, a lovely turquoise diagonal, which works really nicely with the other colours that we've got there. So just trimming the branding strip off, and then I can start really seeing how this comes together. I was just checking that that orange on the reverse wasn't right, but it isn't. It was too much orange with that big square mat with the butterfly on it. It was just too much. So now I'm going to map my photos on some white cardstock. I won't make you watch this, but they just all get matted with a very thin border around the edge. And there they are. And you'll see me doing a lot of this. I keep repositioning. When I was watching the video and editing back, I couldn't believe how many times I fiddled and faffed with the positioning of these photos. I wish that with hindsight that I'd stuck them together at this point so that I didn't have to keep messing. But anyway, there you go. So I decided that this photo mat was slightly too wide for me, so I've cut an inch off the long edge, and I think that the photos sit much nicer like that. So now I'm just going to distress every edge on these papers, apart from the background paper, that turquoise stripe. All of the edges are distressed here. And once again, repositioning these photos. See, I should have just stuck them together. I don't know why I didn't. We need one of those counters at the top to see how many times I do this throughout the video. And you can see I've turned this paper upside down. I've decided that that butterfly was a little bit distracting. So that's now underneath the blue photo mat, and we've just got that little leaf poking out the top right hand corner, which looks quite sweet. So I'm going to start embellishing. In the sketch you'll see I've kept it on the left hand side there. There are some, there's a bracket border and then a different piece poking out the right hand side of that blue mat. I didn't want to do that because it's not really my style, so I decided that I'm just going to use some of this laser cut lace and a few other pieces just to build up a little bit of an embellishment cluster down that right hand side to replace where that bracket paper would have been. So first of all, going through the beautiful laser cut pieces to see what I can find from that, and you can watch me just slowly building these pieces up. A label, you know, I like my label stickers and labels. And I'm just targeting the blues and oranges. Now this vine I thought worked perfectly up the side of the page, just to add a bit of interest, because you can see all of the plants silhouetted against that sunset. So just trying different things out. I wanted to put the date at the top here, which is what I usually do on a tab. So I chose the tab there, but in fact I changed that to a blue one later on. And those leaves in the bottom right hand corner, I love them, and the blue one is gorgeous, but in the end, when I tried to put them back on after I'd stuck a lot of the elements down, I just wasn't happy, so they don't actually stay there in the end, but I'll definitely use them on a future layout. They're beautiful. So just pulling off some other bits from this laser cut sheet and this lovely little stamp. And now I'm going to go into the fabric tape. These fabric tapes are absolutely gorgeous. They tear really nicely to give a very subtle frayed edge. And that's my aim, to just add them as a border down that right hand side of the paper. So first of all, I'm just going to glue these layers down so that I can see exactly where I'm going with things. And when I start using tape, which is semi-permanent, I don't really want to do that until the other layers are stuck down. So you can see I've stuck that upside down, so I'll have to turn that round. There we go. Just checking that everything's right. And now I'm going to stick this white cardstock down, and then I'm actually going to machine stitch around the edge just to make sure that it's properly stuck, and again just to add a bit of texture and interest to that border. It's quite a big white border, and all I'm going to be doing is journaling around there, so I wanted to bring the eye in a bit by doing this stitching, and it really does that, you'll see at the end. So just pulling all the threads through to the back of the paper, and then I can start repositioning the photos yet again. Here we go. And what's even more frustrating is that I did all that just to pull them off the page again. So I think it was an obsession checking that I was still happy with everything. Anyway, the first fabric tape is going down, and I just tear it off the edge, and then you'll see I want to try and fray that edge a little bit. So just pulling it up again and ripping down the side. It doesn't go all the way down, so I pull off what I can here, and then from the bottom I just snip the bottom because I can't get it with my nails, and just tear a little bit up as well. Like I say, it's a very subtle effect, but it just adds something else. With those distressed edges on the papers, I really wanted to add that to the fabric tape as well. And just takes a little bit of messing to get it nice and straight and where I want it. And see at the bottom it's a bit wiggly, so just pulling it taut to get it stuck down. And then checking where this paper lace is going to go. And now coming in with one of the wider strips of tape and doing exactly the same thing, pulling off the edge just to give a slight frayed look. And again, I've torn this off the roll, and then adding that down, and it's just creating these layers, like I say, where that bracket paper would have been on the sketch. And once again, bringing the photos in. At this point, I am actually checking to see that I'm happy with the way that the layering is going, and the photo's not covering too much up, and it doesn't look odd next to that. So another piece of fabric tape, this is the blue that we've got here. And you can see that postage stamp that I pulled up before. So now I'm happy with that layering underneath the paper lace. I can start adding all these other pieces that I pulled out, starting with the lace, and then I'll move on to these stamp shapes. So first of all, this one, I want to make sure that that word lovely isn't hidden by the photo. And then this tab, in the end I decide that it's better going, I think it goes underneath the fabric tape. Yes, so just pull up the fabric tape and tuck it underneath. Another postage stamp. Again, just working out exactly where I want this to go, and which layers to go under and which layers to go over. That's always a quandary. And this one goes at the bottom, but I do bring another one at the top there later on. So I can start gluing these pieces down now, and then I can glue the photos down. So I want a bit of that red showing at the top of that fabric tape, just a tiny bit. And then turning it around to stick this tag down, or label. And now the photos can go down. So using my 25mm 6.2 foam pads. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that these are a must in my toolkit. Use them all the time. And these will just give some more definition to the photos, make them stand out above the rest of the layout. So just checking once again the positioning before I get those stuck down. And like I mentioned before, I wanted to make sure that that right hand photo isn't covering up that word lovely on that stamp. So just being careful with that one. And I wanted to check where it overlaps the other photo so that I don't put my foam pads too closely to that. So while I'm fiddling with this, I want to remind you to check the description box down below. There's a playlist for everybody joining in on 30 Days of Sketches. There are some wonderful creatives joining in, so please do, if you get the chance, go and check their videos too. And if you're enjoying watching mine, I'd love it if you give me a like and a subscribe. I hate asking that, but it's really important for my channel. It gets it out there more and gets more people seeing it, so I would be most grateful. So that's the, the awkward bit done. So just fiddling about again with these photos and making sure that I'm happy with the positioning. And as I mentioned, here I am with another postage stamp there. So just glue that down with my wet glue. It's Nouveau Deluxe adhesive, something that I use all the time. And then I'll do the same with this vine, which will run right up the left hand side as you saw. I think this looks really pretty and it adds so much to the layout. I think with it being green and everything else focused on the blues and oranges, it really does make a huge difference. These laser cut elements are amazing from 49er Market. I do love them. So here I am with those other leaves that I popped out before. But like I say, once I'd stuck everything down, I really wasn't happy with how they were looking on the layout. And I tried them in a few different places, but I just couldn't get it to work. So I'll save those for another layout another day. I think really that green layout, that green vine on the left hand side is enough. That sort of really adds and elevates something on the layout, so I didn't need to add anything else. Now just going through the die cut ephemera just to see if there are a few more little bits that I can add. I wanted to bring the orange a little bit more up into the top of the layout, so I'm keeping my eye out for something that's orange. And then I see this tag and I think that would be really nice, leading your eye down to the bottom of the page. So I'll stick it down there and then I'm going to use some red linen thread to tie it around the bottom of the layout. If I had orange, I certainly would have used orange, but I don't think the red looks too bad. It's such a thin linen, it looks fine. So just sticking those bits down again that I pulled up. And here's that pop of orange that I wanted. I'm so sorry about the lighting. I should have put my desk light on, but I thought we were okay with natural light. But now we're going into autumn and winter. The light just isn't so good anymore. So I will make sure that I add my light next time. So just playing with these tabs, which I will add the date onto. And as I mentioned earlier, I've changed that green one out for a blue. I toyed with this orange one, but the blue definitely looks better. And especially with that ticket pop of orange up there. So I try this label, it doesn't work, so then I cut the ticket in half to just add that there at the top. And it's just making sure that you've got your colours throughout the layout really. I just wanted to make sure there was a bit more orange up there. And that word strip that I've got there just resting on the photo at the moment, it says memorable moments. And that just gets tucked here underneath that lace. So now that side's all built up nicely, I'm going to come in with my roller date stamp just to add the date to the top tab up there, and then I can stick that down. Just using black ink today. Sometimes I reach my Distress Oxides to colour match, but I thought the black would stand out, and we've got plenty of black on the elements around, on the tickets and things, so the black worked. And now my journaling, which goes all the way around the edge of that orange mat per the sketch that you see there on the left hand side. And then I'm also going to add Dinner at the Ship Inn on that label there. I felt it was poking out just a little bit too much white space without anything on it, so I wanted to add where we were. So just one final thing now, adding the title with these gold puffy stickers from Ellie's Studio. And I'm just going to use the title Herm Sunset. And when I put that on, normally my journaling would go underneath that title, and I felt like the space was too much underneath. So I'm just going to add a torn piece of this fabric tape from the Artoptions Alena collection, and then a word strip on top of that from I think the word strip is from the die cuts, and it just says hold on to this. I'll try that one first, but I prefer hold on to this. So just gluing that down with my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. And here I am with the red linen thread, just adding that to that tag and folding it right over the very bottom of the layout, and I'll just adhere it to the back with some double-sided tape, just because that's what I had to hand. Any sort of tape would do, washi tape or anything. And that's pretty much it for today's layout. So thank you very much, Katy, for the inspiration with your sketch. It was a really interesting one to do. And I will see you all again tomorrow for the next sketch, day 23 already. I can't believe we're nearly through this. I've been thoroughly enjoying myself. I really hope you've enjoyed my videos too. I'll leave you with some close-ups and see you tomorrow. Bye.